And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in podcast land. Brendan Cunningham, the real estate doctor, here with Matt Paul. We are live, we are remote, we are talking to you about all the things that you wanted to know, and we're afraid to ask. Matt, what's going on? State of the union, state of the market.
Yeah, so we're seeing the rates have gone up a bit more. They're pretty high, or they're higher than they've been all year. So we're right around under 7, over 6.5%. I was also reading that there was an 8.5% decrease in mortgage applications leading up to Memorial Day, which, as you know, we normally are in the hot point of the year. So that was a little bit concerning. But again, these are national statistics.
Yeah, I mean, business, I don't want to say it's business as usual in Western New York, but yeah, we're seeing multiple offers. We're seeing the market is really thriving. We're actually seeing an uptick on buyer contracts, which is pretty amazing considering the inventory really hasn't increased all that dramatically, although it's up year over year. I mean, not even worth mentioning, I would think. And sellers put themselves in an interesting position today. We're hearing a lot of people saying, well, because of the buyer's commission that gets negotiated up front with the buyer and the buyer's agents, but they typically want the commission passed on through the transaction like it was traditionally done. We're seeing people like nix deals where the buyer asked for 3% and the seller said, no, I'm not going to pay more than 2 or 2.5 or whatever the number is. But they're nixing deals like for a half a point. And you know what? This is where I think it's an education thing on the listing agents part, saying, wake up and smell the coffee, man. You're going to blow a deal for a half a point.
Yeah, and someone else is going to ask most likely, for the same type of percentage. So you're going to deal with it again if you don't deal with it now, you know?
And without saying, gee, in the olden days, but in the olden days, there used to be an axiom that your first offer is usually your best. That tended to be true. I don't think it's not true today either, but typically, you know what? Your first time in, you really want to analyze everything about it that makes sense. Because, I mean, sellers can outfox themselves just like buyers can outfox themselves. I mean, typical buyer today, they're thinking, I'm going to wait for the rates to go down. Okay, how's that working for you? Did they go up or down this week?
Yeah, they went up,
Okay,
right?
and prices went down though, right? No.
Nope,
So it's like
nope,
you're not going to outfox the system. You're just not.
nope. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, just as recent as last year, I had a house on the market in Kenmore, which is a really hot area, as you know,
Ken was
and it was below 200,000, but that the price reflected the condition. And we had a couple offers right out the gate, cash offers that were over $10,000 higher than what the seller ended up taking months down the road after thinking that they were going to get more. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's very true to what you're saying, and I know you've been in the business, a few
Well,
years
100
longer than
years.
me. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm
yeah,
old, but yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that don't really change. One is, you know what? Um, you can outfox yourself, and and
yeah,
and we see people. They've been doing it for since before I was born. You know, and I love the guys that are really hoping for the prices to come down. Wow, it's not a good thing to be hoping for, because how does that
yeah,
happen? How does that?
yeah,
Why do prices come down? It's usually because bad things happened in your market.
yep,
And
exactly.
when you say I want prices to come down, well, that's guys like you, Matt. We want you to lose money on your house. They want me to lose money on my house. And my friend Molly, who bought it, they want people like her to lose money on her house. That's not a good thing. Why would you hope for that? Because it's going to
Yeah,
come around and bite you too.
yep, yep, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, only because it puts them in a better position, but really,
Well, yeah, but
you just got to keep saving.
yeah, you want lower prices? Fine, have a Great Depression. That'll work for you.
Yeah,
That brings prices down. And
yep.
I mean, I think back years before I was even around, before my parents were married. My grandparents lost 4 houses in the Great Depression. You know,
Wow.
nice little
Yeah,
Italian people. They got their piece of the rock and they started to do okay, and then it was a stutter step. It was over. Not good. So you deal with the market the way the market is, and if you need to buy bread, you buy bread. If you need to buy a house, you buy a house. It's a necessity. And the longer you wait, the more the prices are going to go up. I mean, I say it a lot, and I'm going to say it again till somebody listens.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, no, really, supply and demand, and we have not been flooded with new inventory,
It's not
whether
going to
it's new
happen.
builds or,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not
it's not.
likely to happen. Now, we
Yep.
had the tax situation somewhat get rectified in the city of Buffalo. They were originally looking for 25%, thinking, oh, well, we're never going to get that increase. Of course, they didn't. They got about 19%. Okay, but it still went up. What does that do? Not so much for the price of tomatoes, but for the price of real estate. Does that help it or hurt it? I think it will. It's a quirky thing in our market. I think it becomes a non-event. You just pay more.
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know.
mean, if it's a double though, the tenants are going to eventually be
Well, yeah,
picking up that.
it's going to get
So,
passed on. And I had this
yep.
conversation with one of my tenants today. They're good tenants. They pay early. I said, listen, I'm sure you're reading about all this stuff here. You're good tenants. You pay early. Is if I don't have to bump you, I'm not going to. I mean, I think you're paying a fair market, and that's fine, because I'd rather have them paying on time than whack them for $50, and
Yeah.
annoy
No.
them. I could do
Well,
that.
yeah.
I think that's not smart business, though. I mean, people would say,
No,
well,
a good paying tenant is worth its weight in gold,
well,
as you
and
know.
they don't bother me. They're not calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning because my light bulb went out. You know, I don't have time for that, and I'd rather have that. So,
But
but
the
but a lot
issue.
of people are going to see rents going up as a result. That's just
Yeah,
a
and that's
fact.
been one of the major complaints in the city of Buffalo is how quickly the rents have gone up, right? I mean, from in the last 5 years, they've almost doubled. So that's been a concern for a lot of people, and I don't understand the legislation is not going to help that problem
Well,
at
the
all.
legislation, the other irony about ironies is in addition to passing this bill downtown, as a lot of people are aware and are complaining, we have 4 deputy mayors at 200,000 a pop in the city of Buffalo, which, I mean, frankly, it's not a big town. It doesn't deserve 4 at 200 a
Yeah.
pop, and they 3 out of the 6, 9 people voted against it, and 6 people voted in for keeping these guys in place. 3 voted against. So,
Well.
that's what happens when you have the same team in there year after
Hmm.
year after year. They just keep doing what they do, you know. But we're over budget, so we got 4 guys making, 200 a pop. I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah.
You don't have that in
Yep.
bigger cities. So,
Yeah, I agree. So the city
yeah.
of
So,
Buffalo has its
I mean, that
facing its challenges.
it's a challenge, but you will see the rents are going to be going. The other thing that aggravates the rental market in Buffalo is something they brought on themselves, and I've always find it intriguing. 99% of the people that are in Buffalo are on month-to-month leases. If you have a lease, that protects the tenant, doesn't protect the owner, because it locks in
Yeah.
their rent. If you're going
Yep.
month to month, well, and you just moved in, they can give you an increase with a 30-day notice. If you've been there for 2 years, they got to give you a 60-day notice. But yeah, I mean,
I think that also has to do with legislation and the tenant laws. And when you do, place a tenant in a year lease, you have different rules if they stop paying, as opposed to if you're in a month to month. It depends on how long they've been living in the apartment.
it
But
does. Yeah,
I
three
know,
years you got to give them
yeah,
90 days. 2 years it's 60 days.
yep,
I mean, I get that, but the month to month thing doesn't help people because there's no protection to keep the rent at any price for any term. I mean, just could just go up.
yes,
I mean,
yep, yep,
uh, the good news is Buffalo is not what they call a strong rental market. Like New York City is, like it's night and day. There's nothing but
yeah,
rentals there. I mean, it's impossible to
hmm,
own here. I don't want to say it's easier to own here than in other places. It's not as easy as it was 5 years ago, but it's still easier. It's still much easier.
yeah, I
Um,
agree,
and we're
absolutely,
affordable. We're still one of the affordable cities. Um, for the time being, at least, because as we talked about yesterday, in 5 years, they're saying Buffalo will become unaffordable. So
yeah, yep.
it's
So
that's what I'm saying. Hey, if you're gonna buy, get in now. Your time's running out. Where it's going to be that much more difficult for you. And I think Buffalo is one of those towns that we just feel things more than in other places. When we lose a game, we lose big.
Hmm.
Huge.
Yeah.
And we're in mourning for 30 years. Scott
Yeah.
Norwood
Or
still
until the
can't come
next
back to
season
town.
comes around.
Oh my God. So
Yep.
yeah, so I mean, talk to your agent, man. If you're looking to get in, get in, get in. Don't hesitate to get in. Do what you need to do, um, and don't. And if you're a seller, be smart. Listen to your agent. I mean, I have a deal going on right now. It was an easy deal, relatively easy deal. The seller paid 20 grand over the asking price, and the only thing they asked for, the only thing, this is, could you clean up the stuff that's in the garage? You got a whole bunch of, there was junk everywhere. They're working on it, but we went for a final walkthrough. They still hadn't cleaned it up. We said, this is the
Boy.
only thing these people ask for. Come on, man. They gave you 20 grand to do this. Stop.
Yeah.
Don't be a dope.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'll clean it up, but we're going to have to twist some arms to do it. And I mean, it's not like we're asking you to add a room or it's going to
Yeah.
cost you a
No.
lot of money, you know?
Yeah.
But,
But to find that out, the final walkthrough is a little concerning for
and they
sure.
knew about it right along. We told them right, and I said, listen, the only thing they're asking for, and I said, and this guy, I'm telling you, he's a great guy, but he won't close if there's a mess. He just won't do it. So sure enough, and he says, listen, let me tell you, I said, I already know the drill. Let me talk to these people and get them to do what they need to do. But everyone needs to do what they need to do sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, and one of the jobs that a good agent has, and I mean, I put the word good in there because I think some agents just sort of get loosey goosey, and they want to be nice. A good agent gets the deal moving along, just keeps it moving forward, so you don't have to go backwards. And
Yeah.
because there's a million timelines that are in place, and you got to be careful on this time. You got to watch them, but you get a good agent establishes that sense of urgency. We got to do this now, man. I'm not gonna do it next week, and we can always kick it down the road next week. That's what the government does. How's that working for you? You know?
No. Yeah, it's like running a hurdle race. You just got to keep
Yeah.
running, getting over them, and just don't lose stride.
Stop, man. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those. Thank God the weather's changing, and you're starting to see more and more people out looking at it for no other reason because it's a nice day to look on a Sunday. Um, and now that Memorial Day is over, we are unofficially in summer. I know technically it's spring, but most people think of it as being summer. I know we did as kids. It was you go to the beach Memorial Day and all that kind of stuff. So that changes behavioral patterns too. A lot of people think the busiest months of the year are the summer months. Sometimes they are, most of the times they're not. But what we do typically see is, especially around June, is the start of what they call the second season, which is where Johnny wants to start school in September, you know? So if he
Yep.
buys, if the parents buy their house and they buy it in June, maybe they can close by September so Johnny can catch up, or Jenny, whatever her name is. So,
Yep.
but so that yeah, so we start to see a few more parades and a lot more open houses. That's what you should expect. Look for those open houses signs now. You're going to see
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
I'm looking in the market. There looks like there's a bunch this weekend, and yeah, it's good to see. And it looks like our weather is going to be nice here for at least a week, which will be helpful as well.
Yeah, on the subject of open house behavior has changed, I think, a little bit because of the changes in the buyer commission being paid by buyers, and we're seeing a lot of traffic at open houses, but we're not seeing them. I think a lot of people agree that they're not. If you're an agent, they generally speaking are not great, as good as they used to be as prospecting tools. A lot
Hmm.
of times, if an agent was in an open house, he was hoping to maybe sell that house, but he was also looking to pick up prospects.
Hmm.
And now we're seeing that to a much lesser extent, since a lot of people are, in fact, signed up exclusively with exclusive representation by buyers when they walk through an open house. Some are not. I don't know what you're seeing, but I'm seeing most are being represented. What are you seeing there?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the same. And if you're looking for an unrepresented buyer, it's a little bit harder to do the paperwork in an open house. What I found, it just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel as right when there's multiple people in there and you're trying to do the best for the seller, and and then you're trying to also explain paperwork to someone if they want to engage and work with
Hard
you.
to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, unless you can get them into a separate meeting after the fact or something like that. So that behavior has changed somewhat. Um,
yep,
I'm not saying that agents, especially listing agents, shouldn't do open houses, because I think they're very valuable tools. I know
yeah,
historically people would use open houses for a number of reasons. One, they would look at to compare a house that maybe they've seen that week. They want to see what else is out there, and they say, "Oh, gee, we didn't see this house. This house is even better." Or, "Wow, this house is so much not as good as the house that we bought." So there's the
yep,
comparison factor in there. Sometimes
absolutely.
people would go into open houses, and frankly, they were doing this because they had nothing better to do. I had one quasi relative. She used to go to open houses every week. She did it for years. I said, "You looking to buy a house?"
Wow.
No, she said, "I just like to do it."
Yeah.
Oh well, I'd rather
Yep.
go fishing or play golf.
Yep.
And the other thing that people used to do at open houses was they would shop for an agent. Like I was talking about the person that was looking to prospect. A lot of times I know somebody that wants to work with me, but you also know them, Matt. Well, if they work with me, then maybe you have hurt feelings. I know you're a sensitive guy. All right.
Yeah.
So they want to work with you instead of working with me. And well, I'm an even more sensitive guy and I have hurt feelings now. So you know what they do? They go to an open house and they don't work with either of us. They go find a stranger
Yep. Yep.
because it's nothing personal. It's business. This way they don't offend either of us and they don't make either of us happy. So
Yeah.
there's that factor in there. I mean, really, I've seen that happen a number of times. I know there's cases
Yep.
where somebody has a sister or a brother that's a real estate agent, and the and the other sister or brother doesn't use them.
Mm-hmm.
It makes for very
Yep.
uncomfortable Thanksgiving dinners.
Yeah, I bet.
I've seen absolute schisms in families where they don't talk to one another anymore, which I think is nuts. But maybe
Yeah.
they just didn't want you to know they were getting divorced, something like that. There's usually a fairly legitimate reason, other than, you know, somebody, I thought you were a lousy. That's why I went with
Yeah.
somebody else. There's usually some other reason. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
so
tough.
it's what it is. It's the real estate business all over again, and we're raising our taxes in the city and dropping our service.
Yep.
God,
Yeah.
did you see that pothole that they had in South Buffalo last week? It wasn't a
No.
pothole. It was a
Was it a
sinkhole.
sinkhole?
It was a
Yeah, I
sinkhole.
think I did. Yeah.
My whole car could have literally disappeared in it. Sinkhole. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I,
No, it's bad. I
I'm
mean,
not
they
I'm not
still
into
have.
sinkholes. So
No, no. And I have a lot of them out here too in North Buffalo.
yeah, the roads are they're abominable, just
Y-
absolutely abominable. And
Yeah.
and I don't know.
Hopefully they use some of that tax money to fix them.
Well, they got to pay the deputy mayors first, so
Yeah, that's
before they
true.
fix those. So it's,
Yeah.
you just shake your head sometimes and say, "What are these guys thinking? What are they thinking?" Listen, we were supposed to have a guest on today, and unfortunately, our wires got crossed. But hopefully, we can get Pat Paulskill on next week, who wrote this book. Can you read it? Is it
Yep.
backwards? It says
Yep.
Real
Real
Estate
estate
Revolution:
revolution.
How AI, New NAR rules, and market shifts are reshaping real estate. I got to tell you, I read this book. I wanted to jump out a window. Not good. The
No.
revolution. I mean, there's more bad than good coming, but it's what it
Right.
is. What is it? There's neither good nor evil, but thinking makes it so. And what is the
Hmm.
other thing? The Chinese character for crisis is the same as terrible things.
Oh.
Not good. But
Yeah. It'll be
yeah,
interesting to have him on the show and
yeah,
get
and
his perspective.
he can really talk up a storm. So I'm anxious to have him on. I got to reread this book and see if it's as much gloom and doom as possible, and
Yeah.
what I need to get out of it. But yeah, it's just fascinating and well written. He did a good job. This is a guy I know. He's been in the business for, oh God, probably 30 something years or so, and every aspect from mortgage to brokerage. So he knows from what he speaks. So Hopefully,
Excellent.
Pat will be with us
Looking
next week.
forward to it.
Matt, wrap it up. What do
Great.
you got to say for yourself?
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Please like, follow, subscribe. We appreciate you guys watching the show, and let us know if there's anything you want us to address or talk about.
That's right. And I am Brendan Cunningham, the real estate doctor, saying, hey, as Matt likes to say, talk to us, subscribe, all that stuff, because together we are
We
those
are
real
those
estate
real
guys.
estate guys. Perfect.